You guys, welcome. We're so happy to have you. The very first thing we're going to do is introduce the 3 turn coaches who are here in this room. We are so excited to start working with you guys and start working on your teams. Maybe you'd like to go ahead.
Yes. So guys, I'm Ellie. I've met a few of you via Zoom for the interviews. I mainly work with F&D entrepreneurs. And so if you get given someone who wants to start a food business and anything food related, there's just you'll be working with me. And it's very nice to meet you in person finally this year.
Hey, I'm Lucas. I really need a new photo. I have a new jumper as well.
Oh, I'm so
Just a
happy.
running joke that I only have one jumper.
Yeah.
I started on Zoom in 2020 at 10. I am the social enterprise and tech portfolio manager. So work with a lot of social enterprises or not-for-profits, but also tech and digital businesses. That's definitely the space as well. This will be my second in good company program. Throw the name in.
Okay.
But yeah, really excited to get to know all of you much more over the coming months as well. So.
And I'm Adele. Hi. I mostly work with the fashion, crafts, and artists entrepreneurs. I'm also the incubation manager. So if you have like questions about the program and stuff like that, both pre-incubation and incubation, then I can totally help. So yeah, we work together. We split the cohort into 3. Somehow, by the grace of the goddess above, there always happens to be the right amount of entrepreneurs in each sector to like fit us. I don't know why, but it's super helpful. And so all of you will be working with one of us and be seeing loads of us. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to look at the big picture of Turn. Most of you already know a lot about Turn because of your supporter onboardings, but we're kind of going to zero in more on like where this program fits in the ecosystem. Then we're going to talk about the program itself, what to expect, and then move into like mentoring in general, but also mentoring in this particular context. And we're just going to spend the last 10 minutes looking ahead at what's coming up next, because I know there's like a lot of information coming out right now. So it's good to just sort of touch base on what to expect. As you may notice, there is no break. So I encourage you to just get up and go get yourself water in the kitchen, tea, coffee. I can leave my WeWork card here, so you can grab it to go out this door to the restroom, which is to the left, and then use the key card to come back in. So we're all adults here, so don't be shy. Just go do your thing. This is what we did. We've done it now. So because of that activity that we just did, you may understand why we have targeted business support that is designed with the needs of involuntarily displaced people who are living in the UK and how that's necessary. So Turn is a social enterprise. We were created to bridge those types of gaps that we just talked about. And we've spent the past 6 years on a mission to support refugees to thrive through the power of their own ideas. And we do this through an ecosystem of programming that is designed to meet the complex needs of entrepreneurial refugees. So we've got the pre-incubator, so ideation, testing. We've got the incubator, so incubation, actual business development, operational development, et cetera. And then we've got an on-demand business support program. And these 3 programs work together to help entrepreneurs develop their ideas, to launch their ideas, sustain and grow their businesses in the real world. And here we are in the pre-incubator program, yay! So this is going to be all about ideas. Each year we bring about 30 early stage entrepreneurs into our pre-incubator program. So first and foremost, what we're looking for in these cohort members is an entrepreneurial spirit. What's an entrepreneurial spirit? Call out some traits.
Problem solver.
Yeah. What's that? Motivated.
Risk-taking.
Risk-taking, that's right.
Resilient.
Resilient. We don't have to work on resilience with our entrepreneurs. They've got all that. Any other ideas?
Visionary.
Visionaries, yes. Yeah. Creative, all of this and more. So we look for entrepreneurial spirit, but we also look for like a dedication to actually showing up week after week for 12 weeks to make that spirit into ideas that are growing and becoming real. We do have entrepreneurs as young as 18, 19, and the sky's the limit. So they could just be starting out their professional life, or they could have a long career behind them. We've got all genders. We have a community group here at Turn called Her Turn, just for our lady entrepreneurs, or female identifying entrepreneurs really. And we do a lot of gender specific recruitment. I'm proud to say the cohort is half and half this year. The language level, so we're really excited to be working now on some Arabic versions of our programs, but this is a newer thing. We're a startup, so we're just developing all of these different branches of what we do. For now, we deliver in English, and just to make sure that people have a high enough English level so that they don't feel uncomfortable or unconfident that they can understand everything that's going on. So we look for a certain language level. Of course, this is in London, so we actually operate this program in many different cities and many different countries across the globe through our sort of like international Train the Trainer program powered by Turn. But this program is folks who live in London. And unfortunately, in the UK, people who are waiting to have their right to remain recognized cannot legally work. So that means that we have to wait until they have their right to remain or refugee status technically so that they can get the right to work. We would love to work with people who don't have the right to work, but it's kind of sad and messed up to be like, look at all your dreams, and then be like, oh, actually, never mind. Yeah. So we do wait for that. But we don't really care what their legal status is, if that makes sense. So everyone's got a refugee background, and whatever they have that gives them the right to work works for us. We notice patterns in our entrepreneurs as well. So you might recognize your mentee as you get to know them better. We've got some people who have mad skills, so they love to cook, they're good at sewing, design, engineering, they're writers, whatever it is, and they just need some support to turn that talent, that raw talent, into like a clear product, service, brand, and income stream. We've got ideapreneurs. So these are folks who have loads of ideas, but never maybe really took the chance to take them out of their heads and out of their hearts and make them come alive through a structured process like we will provide. And we've got business people who just can't help themselves. They're autonomous, they're ambitious, they spot gaps in the market all over the place, they make stuff happen, but they might need some support in meeting the demands of this British market and bureaucracy and stuff like that. So every single entrepreneur in our program is completely different, okay? They've got different ideas, they've got different skills, different qualifications, different education levels and professional backgrounds. They have different business experience, they have different life experience, they have different expectations for this program and for their lives. Some are very ambitious but need to build experience. Some are very experienced, but they're looking to find something that's viable and valuable in an unfamiliar market. There's no standard user at Turn, but all of your mentees will be in the ideation, pre-launch, or early stage part of their business development, if that makes sense. It's important to know this. Just avoid stereotypes, avoid assumptions, avoid judgments while mentoring. Don't compare your progress to the other team's progress, the perceived progress of other teams, of course, because while it may seem that some teams are progressing faster, there's going to be very unique roadblocks in every single journey. And what we've seen time and time again is that transformation and change is very possible. And it happens in so many different ways and directions as these entrepreneurs set off on their journey of self-discovery and self-determination. And they've trusted us to do that with them. So We give them the space to just be themselves, be their special snowflake self. We have very exciting news. I'm going to ask you to do a drum roll. For the past 4 years, we've been operating under one name. It's Ice Academy. And we actually have a new brand now, you guys. Yay! It's called In Good Company. Essentially, we started out as a Ben & Jerry's sponsored program, and we are still a Ben & Jerry's sponsored program, but we also have other sponsors now. And we don't want people to think that they have to make ice cream as their business, which is a very common issue with the Ice Academy. Also, I'm from the United States, and ice is not a great word concerning migration where I'm from. So all the reasons we have moved on, but don't worry, it is still the very same program, design thinking and developing ideas. So it's gonna be great. Okay, you guys. Here we go. We're going to do a little breakout moment. You can totally go out into the common area. We're just going to break out into groups of like 3. You can even just turn to the person next to you, but if you really want to leave, maybe all the people who want to leave the room can like go be in a group together. And just get in a group of 3 and just introduce yourselves and say why you have committed to being a business buddy. Hey, oh man, don't worry. We're going to break out again. So there will be tons of time to chat. I'm just curious though, what are some of the like main themes that you guys heard? Why do people do this crazy thing? To help. Okay. That's such a good reason.
I was listening and people wanted to meet up people from different cultures, different countries, different communities.
That you will. How many different countries are represented in the Turn community? I think it's like 76 or something.
I just don't know the answer. Too many.
Anybody else? Any
To learn
to learn? Oh, nice.
randomly. I know I learned so much about it last year.
Random learning.
Well, you just serendipitously, you just don't even.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Any other ideas? Sometimes people have like a political side to it where they're like, I just wanted to like do something meaningful instead of just watching the news all the time. That's a really common one. Awesome, you guys. Cool. I'm glad you guys got to meet in real life as well. Wow, it's really different than usual. Okay. So let's go a little bit more into the program now that we've met and we know why we're all here. You guys, I'm not going to go into design thinking at length. Most of you already work with it in your jobs. If you don't, you may have noticed we've sent some resources about it. You're going to learn a hell of a lot of it over this summer, that's for sure. It's basically a very serious term. That means it is important to try things out in real life before you launch them out into the world. So you do your research, you build a model, you test your model with real people who are open about their opinions in a supportive space, and you gather feedback. You take the things that they tell you, their advice, as well as your personal insights that you've now had from actually building this thing for real. And you use that to refine your idea. And then you repeat, rinse and repeat. And this is the way that we prove the value of an idea in the market. Because as you know, sometimes in your head, you're like, I have the best idea ever. I'm going to make God, I have so many great ideas. I'm going to make like an adjustable hat that like a top hat that's like really tall or really short. And then like, you're like, okay, well, nobody else thinks that my idea is that cool. So this is how we prove it in real life. I actually think that idea is really cool. And I bet if I tested it, people would think that too, but whatever. I do.
What about the social conscious publisher? That's like business plan.
Polly, what is it? Pub is for peace. Yeah. But yeah, maybe if you do take off, you'll get to see that one. But yeah, it's really important, especially when you're new to a market in particular, because you need to prove the value of the market. And this is one of the ways to do it. The value of your product or service in a market. And this is one of the ways to do it. So check out the resources that we've sent you. It's in the Watch and Read library on the information base, which we've recently sent to you as well. The other thing that we use to sort of influence our program is Lean Startup Method. This is all about finding a minimum viable product or service and starting with just the bare minimum valuable version of that. And it's super lean, and then you get to focus on growing your product development and operations over time. It helps entrepreneurs refrain from risking everything on one card or spending a ton of time and a ton of resources on something huge that they don't actually know is going to work or don't actually know how to do. For example, you want to start a restaurant. You're not even going to start with a market stall. You're going to start with like a street food shack, right? Something mobile, something convertible, a pop-up. You want to start the UK's next largest jewelry supply store. You might not even begin with a kiosk at the mall. You might begin with a very lean e-commerce operation on Etsy or what have you. So again, you can read more about that elsewhere, but ultimately business development is only one of many priorities in this program. We're also very focused on building an entrepreneurial mindset, learning very important and long-lasting skills that are multifaceted, and creating invaluable networks, both business and personal. The idea development that we do serves these 3 points, and of course, the eventual potential business. So we do this program in 3 stages. The first stage is the idea stage, and then we have a test stage, and last but not least, we have a choices stage. And when we break down the program a bit more, you'll see it looks like this. There's this beginning period made up of different research and workshops and skill trainings. That helps us to develop multiple business idea or multiple iterations of an idea. We learn about what it takes to start a business and entrepreneurial life skills here in the UK. We identify our strengths and our opportunities or resources that we already have so that we can play to those. And we conduct real customer and competitor research. Then we move into the testing phase in June. So we decide what exactly it is, what features of our product or service exactly do we want to test. We test with real customers and get quantitative and qualitative feedback. And then we use that feedback and the new insights to refine the offering. And then last but not least, in the choices phase in July and August, participants are going to decide how to continue. So just about half of them usually decide to join the incubator program to fully launch their business and continue getting support from Turn with the entrepreneurship. But some are going to use Turn more to find full-time employment or new educational opportunities or access to educational opportunities. So it's more about feeling like you know what step you want to take next. That's what this is about, and whatever that might be. So you can take a look, of course, in that information base at all of the workshop breakdowns and dates and all the descriptions of those workshops and skill trainings, but this is kind of an aerial view. If anybody has a burning question, just like feel free to ask, you know, I might cover it eventually. So the types of sessions and tools that we're going to use to do this. First and foremost, we've got our workshops and skills trainings. So we've got our weekly workshops. Those are on Tuesday and Wednesday evenings. Obviously, you're all assigned to just one cohort, so either Tuesday or Wednesday. All of these are core sessions, so they're all essential. We shouldn't really be missing any workshops, but that's easier said than done. During those workshops, there's one-to-one time where you'll be doing mentoring with the entrepreneurs, and we'll get into that more later. Then we've got skill trainings and digi skills. So these are mostly for entrepreneurs, but if your entrepreneur like really needs support in one or more of the skill trainings and you're like, it just really helps them if I'm there, then you are of course welcome and encouraged to come. And then we of course have meetings. This is when we're preparing for larger milestone moments or just to meet to do research or to develop different assets. So that can be online or in person. Then we've got our milestones. This is experiential learning. It's the really big, exciting moments where a lot of the work comes to fruition. And most of these are all going to be in person this year, which is really exciting. So I'll show you some examples of milestones. We've got our test events, of course. So this is going to be the week of July 4th, TBD on the exact date and location. But essentially, we run these cluster test events to gather qualitative and quantitative feedback on our prototypes. There will also maybe be some online tests for folks who are doing like more digital services and stuff like that. So we might see stuff like that as well. So this is like literally events that turn throws and everybody comes and we get tons of, we don't know if they're tasters or testers or testies, or we never have the right word for them, but people come and they test the products and they give feedback, and it's wonderful. Here's more pictures of tests. You can always tell the 2020 tests because we had them in person and it was awesome. But yeah, oftentimes in the tests, like, sorry, let's go back a sec. Oftentimes in the test, it's like the first time that they've like put together all of this stuff to demonstrate their idea. And it's really wonderful and people work really hard and it's really exciting. And they're definitely going to need your support leading up to these. And we give a whole week of support before. Also the pitch jam, this is towards the end of the program. Folks will develop a pitch script and a slide deck. So it's a great opportunity to practice talking about ideas succinctly, visualizing them, showing and telling others about our work, networking, and of course, public speaking practice. This is usually in collaboration with Turn partners. So we've had pitch jams with like Atomico, McKinsey, and other like consultants because they give great feedback on pitches. So a lot of the times you guys and also them will be a part of like the panels that watch the pitches. And then of course, graduation, just for fun, just for celebrating time. It's really great. There's usually free Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Everybody gets certificates and we are just having a lot of feelings, as you can see from the pictures. And the third type of session, this one is really important for you guys. I mean, they're all really important for you, but these are field trips. So this is about going out and doing market research and thinking about the things that we're learning, the theories that we're learning, how they're replicated out in the larger world. Think about where you might want to go on field trips, on expeditions, places you think they should check out, people you think that they should meet and talk to. Feel free to suggest to your turn coach like different ideas, and we can help you collaborate to make those happen. But this is the type of insider knowledge that you guys have to offer someone who's new to the London market. So really, it's a great thing to ask your friends for tips, do your research, and get out there in the world looking at stuff. Yay, we're coming back to in-person sessions. This is not a great example of how it's going to go. Usually we'll have a big room that has a projector that works. But these are basically all the in-person sessions. So you'll see there's workshop 2, workshop 6, and workshop 8 are in person. All the other workshops are online. The test events, the pitch event, and graduation will be in person. And your meetings can be in person or online, depending on what's more convenient or what you guys are doing. But the one-to-one meeting, the first meeting with your team that's coming up next week, that will be in person here because it's really good to establish rapport at first in real life, if that makes sense. Although we did a pretty damn good job in 2020 and 2021 without any in-persons, but it's just not the same anymore. So online workshops are going to be 5:45 to 7:45 to spare everyone the screen time. In-person workshops, once we've traveled there and gotten together, they're more fun. They pass more fast anyway. So we're going to just have them a bit longer, set 5:45 to 8:15. And what you can expect is to sort of grab a cup of tea, settle in. We start at 5:45 sharp. We generally chase people who aren't there yet. So either in the Zoom or in real life, we'll sort of like make calls. But if you feel comfortable, then you can also follow up with your mentee if they're not there yet and be like, yo, where are you at? And help us out with getting everyone in the room. We start out going over agendas, setting goals, and explaining like why something is important and the value of what we're about to get into. And then we move into like the core part of the workshop. So learning section that's delivered by a turn coach, and then the one-to-one mentoring to apply that learning to the unique business idea That's you and them. And then just before the end of the workshop, we'll take a look at what's coming up next in the program, things that should be on your radar, and we will set some to-dos. In the real life ones, we'll actually sit down and set some real to-dos for the next coming weeks. And then on the online ones, it'll just be like in our minds. So yeah. In the online workshops, and actually in real life workshops as well, there will be like 3 different types of things. So there will be the group segment where the turn coach is kind of delivering to everyone together. There will be one-to-one breakouts when you will be speaking with just your mentee. And if that's an online session and you go into a breakout, then you can ask your coach like on WhatsApp or on the Zoom chat to like pop into the breakout and help if you need anything. And then in the real life ones, obviously you could just like call us over. So easy. And then there will be like group feedback and breakouts where we bring like different folks from the same industries, like a few different teams together to like practice pitching or give each other feedback on things. So that sometimes happens as well.
If it works for you and your mentee, is there any reason why you can't put the online ones go somewhere together and do it so you can do your breakfast in person?
That would be great. Yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah. We're going to use tools. It's going to be really cool. Turn has a lot of really awesome tools. Sometimes they look a little crazy at first, but when you get into them, they make a lot of sense. Bless you. Please help us to encourage the use and the buy-in of the value of these tools. Sometimes I think it can be really intimidating for people who are like newer with the digital stuff and they just like ignore the existence of the tools altogether. But actually the tools are super helpful and will make everything so much more easy in the long run. So the earlier they start using and getting comfortable with digital tools with your support, then the more likely they'll be able to use these critical types of things in the future when they're actually entrepreneurs. So when you're together in person, you can kind of like share the computer and fill in together. That's a great chance to like teach them how to use the tools and get comfortable with it. When you're in an online session, this is not really a hill to die on. If you want to fill out the tools because it helps them be more creative and focus on the task, then you can fill in the tool and share the screen. If you feel like autonomy is like a big hill that they have to climb, then maybe you need to have the patience to like have them fill out the tools and get comfortable with multitasking in that way. It doesn't really matter that much. The point is to have like not a lot of anxiety and be as productive as possible. So whatever makes that happen, then have fun with that. But yeah, we do want to establish buy-in for their worth and value to the entrepreneur. So you definitely want to be using them, returning to them, and spending time with them. We'll also have an analog tool. It's called the Journey Journal, and just entrepreneurs will get one. It's like a booklet. We invented it during 2020 to like mitigate the digital overload situation, and it just has lived on from there. It has loads of nice, reflective, and creative little activities in it. So you'll probably see some of those. I'm going to put a PDF in your buddy links so that you can see what they're working on as well. In order to work together as a team and to meaningfully and effectively develop the business ideas, we will use a few key tools that help us not only to develop the business idea, but to actually communicate the development of the business idea to one another. These tools are tried and true. We find that once people get the hang of using them, that they're super simple and super straightforward. Most of you probably use them all the time. I'm just going to go over them real quick. Google Meet for one-to-one remote meetings, Zoom for workshops and skill trainings, and the WhatsApp team group. So we're going to put you in a WhatsApp with your entrepreneur and your turn coach, and you're going to have a group chat. Try to stick to these tools. Try to stick to the group WhatsApp, for example, when texting your mentee. It's really good for everyone on the team to kind of like know what's going on and keep up to date. And that also helps us increase group chat engagement so that they actually look at the group chat, and that's where we send critical reminders and like changes and updates. So it's really good to like just be using that for all chatting. Also, you can remember that in this group, you're kind of modeling like professional use of like chatting. So that's, it's good to like reply relatively quickly. I mean, not like immediately. Use like proper language-ish, not that we always do, but you know what I mean. Being like professional-ish on the group chat. We do ask that you stick to these tools. Digital tool overload is a very real thing. It can take time for people to learn how to use these tools. So we want to be repeatedly using the same ones and getting comfortable. Like if you use Microsoft Teams at work, then like just please use Google Meet here, if that makes sense. We have program information bases that are online. So we've got the Google Drive folder. Every participant has their own folder. You will be shared on that folder. The folder contains the digital tools. It contains, or we encourage them to store all their business assets and the research throughout the program on the Google Drive. It's about practicing kind of like foundational organizational techniques that can hopefully support their productivity for years to come. So it makes it really easy for us and for them to like find assets, to find the research that they've done, that they've documented, the images associated with their early stage business development. You can encourage your mentee to like upload their photos, like show them how to upload a bunch of photos onto Google Drive. Like that's a skill that they will use forever. And then next time they need photos, they know where to find them. So it's like this type of organizational techniques that we're teaching from the very beginning. Notion is the information base. So you guys have already been up on there. That's where all the core programmatic information is, the schedule, the handbook, and all the watch and read learning resources. And that's also where we put the recordings of the online workshops. So that's that bit.ly/ingoodcompany 2022 that we shared with you. And then we've got a Mighty Networks social space where you can like post and ask for feedback and stuff like that. Quick note on the Google Drive, another really amazing thing about Google Drive, if you live under a rock, is that they have Google Docs and Google Spreadsheets and Google Slides. And that is a cloud-based or live word processing, spreadsheets, and visualization programming. So this is really, really good because we're avoiding very annoying things like having different versions of things or not saving our work and then losing it all, or like not being able to find the thing that we're working on together. So it's really amazing. So you can use, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides all within the Google Drive. It's just amazing and it's free. Thanks, Google. Any questions? Sorry, just like going on and on. Cool. Okay, so we are a team. Yes, this is the team structure. We're a triangle, the strongest building block of all sacred geometry. We work together, the entrepreneur at the top and the coach on one side and the business buddy on the other. So I'm just going to show you quickly what coaches do. So obviously we're sort of the programmatic shepherds, but on top of that, we also coach. We do one-to-one coaching sessions around sort of like skill development and founder development and about people's visions and figuring out what those visions are and how those visions are changing as they sort of go through the program. So we do that with them, and we are also here to support you and to help y'all through this program to understand what's going on. And then the other person that supports each mentee is you. That's you, the business buddy. There you are. You are working directly with, in the trenches with this entrepreneur. So facilitating their work in the workshops and also outside the workshops. Sometimes you're a friend. It's really nice. Business buddies is a fun word for a mentor, but because it's not so industry specific and because there's not so much like actual business development that's happening, we call them buddies because it really is like a sounding board, a friend, a support system, someone who is just kind of by your side as you're exploring this space for the first time. So we're gonna break out again, this time for 15 minutes. Sorry. Oh my God, we could actually break out for longer. Let's break out for longer. Let's break out for 20 minutes. What is it to you? I know all of you have experience mentoring or being mentored. What makes a good mentor? What's the best mentoring experiences you've had, the best mentors that you've had? Let's share those qualities. And then crucially, how do you plan to encourage your mentees' autonomy? Really quick before we break out, why is autonomy such a hot topic in this particular program? Can anybody guess?
So kind of because they're displaced, they don't have control certain aspects of their life.
There is a bit of that, yeah. So obviously involuntary displacement, as the name implies, is involuntary. And so autonomy and regaining autonomy over your life and your life choices is super important. Yeah, at this stage, now that people are sort of starting to get set back up and trying to mold their life in a way that makes sense to them. But also just like in terms of pre-incubation in general, even.
Because you're not their co-founder, you are their mentor, so at the end of the program, they will have to be able to take this forward on their own without the support.
That's so true, yeah. So any entrepreneur is probably going to end up doing pretty much everything by themselves. So if we started out by holding your hand too hard, then it's a little scary what happens after August, right? Yeah, and belief in oneself, that you can do it. Like if we can be here slowly encouraging that, then hopefully that can become a reality. Great, great, great. Okay, any questions before we break out? Take 20 minutes. Take 20 minutes. Oh no, is it 8:54? 7:15. Yeah. Yeah, go on. 6:54. It's 6:54 right now. Yeah, go on. We'll do 20 minutes. See you at 7:15. Enjoy. Please leave the room. I beg you.
So doing the same groups.
I think I'm gonna go.
Whatever. Yeah, you could do the same. You could do the same groups or different groups. Groups of 3 or 4, please. Anybody want to share some of the reflections that they heard? What makes a good mentor? Qualities of a good mentor, or how to encourage autonomy? Go ahead, Humaira. A good listener. Why is that a good quality?
Because a lot of times, especially when you're going through the stage of creating ideas for your business, you just want someone to be a sounding board and maybe give you reflections on your ideas. So this helps someone to develop their ideas.
So true. Nice one. Any other thoughts? Qualities of a good mentor or autonomy? Encouraging autonomy. Oh my God, did you guys just talk about football the whole time?
Well, we had an interesting chat about autonomy, and I guess that how to balance building the relationship and building confidence in the mentor relationship, and then at the same time not taking that to the point where they kind of lean on you so much that they can't stand on their own. And so how to balance that and maybe subtly shift it over time. And there was a nice idea that was mentioned about, maybe occasionally later on in the process, the coach and the mentor not going to things, not going to everything. It might be an event or something, just then just then we're busy, and the person kind of doing it, if they're kind of confident that they can handle it. So it's kind of, I guess, like subtle ways of like encouraging that autonomy over time rather than
Yeah, over time. Nice. True. There's a nuance. How about people who have mentored with Turn before? I think there's a you and you and you and you and you and you. Yeah. So can you tell us a little more about this? What was that like, the encouraging autonomy? Can you give me an example of what that actually looks like and what you actually did?
So with for example, with the Google Drive,
Yes.
It's basically saying, I don't mind filling it out for you, but I'm not writing a single word of it. You have to tell me everything that you want me to write. So when you use the tools, so that it's all their own thinking and their own words, and you are literally just there to basically like add.
Nice one. You're a scribe. Nice one.
Balance, right? At the beginning, you need to build trust. So they need to, the mentees, they need to see that you are there and you're going to be supportive with them. But at the same time, it's important that you start building your confidence, and that's what works for me. I think I spent a lot of time building confidence of my mentee. So at the end, she was able to start making decisions herself.
And how did you build confidence? Like complimenting her?
Yeah, like telling her what she was doing well, and also I think it's not only about being like complimenting and just being super nice. I think there is an element as well of being asking challenging questions sometimes to make them think outside the box. Because what we were saying is, if we don't do that at this stage, when they go out to the market, they will get these questions from
True.
the customers, and then they won't get the result they need. So sometimes it is important that we ask, we keep challenging them, and we play a little bit of we were talking about play the bad cop sometimes, and really challenge them on their thinking.
Nice.
A shortage of autonomy wasn't an issue. And it was partly introduced in the idea of an edit function, choosing between ideas, and also just at a practical level, I tried to encourage him to be the one who would make the effort of setting out the meeting. Right, so takes responsibility for instructor. Otherwise, because otherwise, I'd normally die and do that.
Yes.
So that might be able to maybe use this.
Nice.
It's definitely a big thing about holding back.
Yeah.
Even, I have to do this really quickly, really easily. It would take me 5 minutes actually just to stop and just go, no, this is not better coming from.
Patience is a huge thing.
I guess there's also kind of an element of kind of being behind the scenes a little bit for some of like the bigger group events, like testing and stuff like that. You can stay I can stay slightly to the side and back from the snow, but also give really good constructive review and feedback after that, still be support the entrepreneur and stuff like that. So that's another way, I suppose.
Totally.
Yeah, maybe sometimes I've been breaking down some of the things that might feel a bit scary. Like, for example, the financial forecast is something that can get quite scary when having this type of thing before. And so I know that what we did is either breaking down a shorter period or trying to understand what the impact of changing variable would be, and then using the machine and all that stuff. So doing step by step, like breaking it down so that they can see and understand from maybe different perspective how that works and then do the technical.
Nice one. Lots of great information. What's up, Kitty?
Just one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of understanding the entrepreneur's kind of personal life, personal circumstances, and the areas that they just might have to find more challenging. Like my previous entrepreneur was a mom, and so she struggled sometimes finding childcare and everything. I think if you can make them feel supported in the areas that you know are a bit tough for them, then they feel more confident, I think, to have you in other areas where they can. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, every single person's support needs and autonomy levels are going to be completely different, right? So, Ellie, yeah, I'm just worried about, sorry, I just don't want to suffocate. Yeah. I want to live. Okay. So we look for certain things in a business buddy, and these are the things that we sort of saw in you. So this is kind of some of the key things, right? So the first is awareness. This is about being aware of what it's really like to be an entrepreneur or a professional in the UK, but also being aware of sort of intercultural dynamics, being worldly, and aware of things like power dynamics and, empathetic humans, this type of thing. We want them to be personable because like friendliness is super important. Mature both professionally and personally. So you might remember we asked some mindset questions like, oh, what would you do if your entrepreneur like was irritable one day, and like kind of pay attention to that maturity of response, like, oh, it's not really about me, it's about them. So I would meet them where they were at. And then skilled, and this is really important. So these entrepreneurial skill sets, like we talked about, being a wonderful problem solver, a strong communicator, and a good collaborator. So again, you're kind of operating as a role model in some ways in this dynamic, not to say that it's like a hierarchy where you're a role model and the other person's just watching you, but just to say that you're modeling certain things and they might be modeling certain things with you as well. And people who understand like nuance, for example, is really important. Who aren't going to like other people, stereotype people, make assumptions about people, make judgments about people, this kind of thing we don't really want. And who are open-minded and understanding. I think one of the important bits in the skilled column is also about being solutions oriented. So not getting caught up in like little things or not clamming up to a challenge. And just kind of like focusing on how can we remove this roadblock? How can we move forward? How can we, you know, do what we can with what we've got while we've got it, basically, resourcefulness. They also understand what success looks like from their mentee's perspective. So they're not applying their own lens. This is a part of awareness. It's not about our lens, our expectations. It's about having that maturity to like, and the patience to understand what that person wants for themselves and to support them in that way. And in terms of like the entrepreneurial experience or the professional experience, I think it's really wonderful when mentors understand the significance of this particular program as a part of a broader journey. So the early stages and the easier stage, it's not the whole stage. Rome doesn't get built in the early stage. It's a part of like an entrepreneurial journey that everybody is on. So we always say something at Turn, and it's that the entrepreneur's business development is not your deliverable. It's not the mentor's deliverable. Your deliverable is to be a supportive mentor. Okay. So, what is support? What is helping? What are a few of the main caveats of helping people? What is real helping? Is anybody picking up what I'm putting down? When you think of like support and helping, what's different about that from?
More like
Guiding, yeah. Not taking over, that's good. Taking over is never helping, let's be honest, in any sense of the word. Unless like, I guess it could be. Anyway, nuances. Anybody else have some ideas? Facilitating, what does that mean?
So you sort of allow them to have, say earlier, like you kind of give them these little steps to work through, like, oh, sorry, I can't make this event, but how about you go by yourself and see how that goes. So you're giving space in some way or autonomy so that they know that you're not going to be there at the end when they'll start.
Yeah, they're on their own journey and you're just kind of facilitating that. Right.
It's also about allowing them to make their own decisions and you kind of plant seeds, but at the end, it's their project and they are the ones who you know, it's their dream.
Yeah.
Just here to kind of allow them to do it.
Totally.
And it's about honoring that feeling, right? You have to honor what they've done, and even if sometimes you might wildly disagree with something, you know, that is
I wildly disagree with your dream.
That is their choice to make, and you know, even if you're putting your wild disagreement across to them. You have to do it in a way that kind of honors what they're saying, their thought process and their judgment and all of that.
Yeah.
I'll just say support is, yeah, I guess it's kind of clearing, like, giving them an environment where they can achieve the objective they've set in place. So if there's any particular obstacles that you can remove as a support or as a facilitated function, that's probably an ideal place to be to allow them to get forward with their work.
Very cool. Yeah. I like that, removing obstacles. Did you want to say something?
I was just saying that, just what I think kind of what you were saying, which is when there's roadblocks, it's trying to help them to get them to see problem from different perspectives. Really trying to help them, not give them your solution, but trying to help them to see a specific situation from a different angle. So they can bring their own solutions to the problem.
Totally. I remember someone once told me the greatest gift you can ever give is the gift of a new perspective. That's so nice. It's really nice. Meeting entrepreneurs where they are at. This is so important. You're coming into this program with a certain set of expectations. You have ways that you see the world. You have things that you think are a given. You have a certain level of professionalism of work that you produce. You have assumptions of what things mean or how things should be. But this experience is going to challenge all those expectations. I'll tell you now. Your job is to sit back, listen, and observe where the entrepreneur is at, what they want for themselves, and their personal goals. It's critical that you meet your mentee where they're at and offer the help that they ask for or that they truly need, which is something you will only understand after several weeks of building rapport with them and observing them. Please do not impose your expectations or vision onto your mentee. Please do not assume that if your mentee does not meet your expectations, that they don't care or will not make it. This is as much about empowerment as about anything else. Now that the folks in our program have the right to work, they've got status in the UK, we're here to support them to self-determine. The business support that we provide is designed to empower entrepreneurs, and our service model works to boost confidence and the art of what is possible. In some cases, we're looking to break cycles of dependency, very real cycles of dependency that have been created by the involuntary displacement, by the asylum process here in the UK, where people have no rights at all and no control over what's going on. So it's extremely important that we do not replicate cycles of abuse and dependency that many people have unfortunately fallen into while getting their claims recognized by the UK government. So that's why this is so even more important than usual, but this is always important when you're trying to help someone. So it's gonna look more like this. Come on. That's not what I meant. Here we go. There we go. Just facilitating this exchange. Okay. Showing up, you guys, tips and tricks for being an amazing mentor other than offering true support is to show up. I'm laughing, Manu, because you literally were like, sometimes you just need to like stand in the back. And here he is in the corner, just standing in the back, observing. That's a real experienced mentor. So, a great buddy shows up, she stands behind her mentee, she rolls up her sleeves, she supports when she can, however she can. Never underestimate the power of believing in someone enough to show up for them time and time again. Some people in our community may have felt very unsupported at different stages of their experiences seeking asylum. Anyone who has ever lived in a different country knows it can sometimes feel like you're hanging by a thread in space with no web and no net to catch you when you fall. Anybody? Mentoring with Turn is a chance to restore some of that feeling of being supported and held by a real community. So showing up is more than half the work.
It actually smells so good next to that barbecue.
Yeah, that's Raymond. He's got a stall at Mercado Metropolitano now.
Really?
Can I get those exact rips?
Well,
Mate, I was
Getting
vegetarian
down
for a very long time to that, though. I haven't been for about 3.5 months.
That's so extreme.
I was standing back right next to it just so I could.
Tim, his mentor, works at Turn now.
There you go.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, communication is so important whenever you're collaborating, working on a team in any kind of relationship, obviously. Like we mentioned, WhatsApp team group text is great for chatting, but sometimes, like if your entrepreneur has very low digital skills or is having trouble with the WhatsApp chat or whatever, remember the obstacle is the path. The only way out is through. Just keep finding new ways of communicating. If you need to leave an audio message because big blocks of texts are overwhelming, or maybe the person isn't texting you back, you can check in with them. Hey, why aren't you texting me back? Oh, I hate texting in English. I'm terrible at English. Leave me an audio message. Here's how to press the microphone. And then you guys can exchange audio messages in the group chat. Most people know how to do that. So like just work around the problems. Like don't like stay stuck on the problems. Like, oh no, but we have to chat in the text. When in doubt, just pick up the phone and call. It's so 90s, but it really works. Supporting structure and consistency. You guys, this might be the first program that these entrepreneurs have been in a really long time. It might be the first program they've ever been in the UK. Not everyone, but some people. So expect difficulties with the program structure. Okay, there's going to be some overwhelm, difficulty getting to appointments, difficulty remembering appointments. You might be doing a little bit of chasing. In UK professional culture, when people no call, no show, that's considered extremely rude and someone who doesn't care enough about you or about the situation. That is never what is happening in this program. I will just lay that out. So expect these types of difficulties. Work with them again, like send reminders, call someone in the morning. Hey, are you still down to meet at 4? So that you don't end up across London and with no one there. Just like help them to work into the program flow. And oftentimes what we see is by the end of the program, people are like pros at everything and they're like always showing up on time. So sometimes it just takes a difficult conversation like, hey, it's not cool to arrive an hour and a half late for an hour-long meeting. And then it doesn't happen anymore. Or maybe it does, and then you have to talk again. Practice consistency, structure, these types of things really help with like the overall transformational experience of this program. Sometimes you might need to like John said, wait for them. But then if they're not really reaching out to you, maybe there's reasons, figure out the reasons. Maybe you need to reach out to them more and encourage them more in the beginning. Like it's all going to depend on your mentee. Please be mindful with meeting about accessibility issues. So it's a great idea to meet here at the WeWork because there's like free coffee, free tea, and like tons of space to just hang out. There's free Wi-Fi, so that type of thing. But if you are meeting somewhere else, because I know Hoxton isn't the easiest place in the world to meet, or you could also meet at King's Place on workshop days. We'll be there all day before the workshop. So you could also come and meet there. That's more central. But if you go to like Pret or a coffee shop or whatever, just like be mindful of the financial circumstances of your mentee and like how easy it is for them to get around and those types of things. Trust the process, you guys. We've been around the block a few times. We ask for your trust and your patience, keeping the flow of the program. It's not going to happen in a week. You're not going to start a business in a week. You're not going to get into a great rhythm with your new relationship with your mentee in a week. So just remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. We can guarantee you that you will see growth and progress if you just show up and stick with it and trust in the program and show up for the program. And ultimately, trust is like the most integral element of our community. So we ask for your trust in general. And we ask for you to be mindful and careful to establish that trust with your mentees as well. Game changers. Just so wanted to give you a few examples of some really big game-changing mentor moves that I've seen happen in the past. So meaningful connections with people. So this could be role models in their field. It could be peers, colleagues who can guide or mentor them beyond their involvement with this program. For example, last year, I had an artist who wanted to make art for and with children who had autism. That was her MVP. She was enrolled in courses to learn about autism and child development. She was practicing art, but her mentor saw a gap. So she introduced her to friends she had who had a child who had autism. Today, 1 year later, those friends invited her to come make art with their child. And she now works for that family, making art every week with the child and her friends. So it's led to paid employment, professional skill development, and a wealth of experience working towards her goals that she would otherwise not have made that connection. So that's one example. Creating opportunities in the field. If you are in the industry or you know people in the industry that your mentee is looking to break into, please go out of your way to make connections and create opportunities. One mentor, 5 stars, she was in the skincare industry. She had a mentee interested in cosmetics, and she brought her to Germany, to the largest cosmetics trade show in the world. She made a ton of connections with peers and suppliers. She was granted access to this very exclusive space that had previously been gatekept from her. She learned so much, and she could feel herself becoming a part of the industry just by being there. So that's the gold standard. Encouraging the entrepreneur's strengths. So like Priscilla was saying, this is wonderful for building confidence. But also because those strengths and those skills are what is going to ride them through this overall journey of becoming an entrepreneur or having a career that they love. So for example, I had a mentor. She was very creative and she was mentoring an artist as well. She was very perplexed after observing for many months and learning more about her mentee that the mentee had not created any art since she had moved to the UK. She encouraged her and challenged her to make art and share it with her on the WhatsApp group, like little sketches every day and stuff like that. Today, that person is creating regularly. In addition to encouraging them to practice their own strengths, please take the time to sit down and transfer professional skills that you notice need work. So skills that will last well beyond Ice Academy or In Good Company or anything at Turn. Things like writing a professional email, creating an email signature, using different technological apps, productivity hacks, anything. For example, we've had entrepreneurs, for example, who have trouble making appointments or remembering appointments. Is very common. Rather than being offended and having their time wasted, the mentor sat down and taught the entrepreneur to use a calendar app and set it up across all their devices with notifications. This is a lifelong skill that that entrepreneur now will have so many more opportunities available to them because they know how to make a meeting. Huge. The most critical thing and the strongest feedback that we get about mentors is that they believe in their mentees. We always get told this. They just believe in me. I've never had anybody believe in me like that. Makes me kind of emotional. By showing up for them throughout the program and keeping trying with them, even when it's slow and it feels frustrating, coming back again and again to develop their ideas, you're creating a safe space for growth. And that is the most meaningful thing, especially to someone who may not have felt very supported, welcomed, or like they belong for a while. Encouraging autonomy and truly helping is not easy, you guys. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a fun challenge. The methods all look a bit different because everyone's needs and vision are different. So it's kind of like a tightrope. Sometimes you're going to be like, I don't know. I feel like I'm losing the plot here. Sometimes you're going to be like, I got this. I'm steady. This is working. And other times you're going to be like, oh my God, yes, this is so fun. I'm learning a lot. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling emotional at all the progress. This is amazing. So remember to apply the design thinking methodology to your own mentoring practice, you guys. Just try different things. You want to take time to empathize and understand your audience, so your mentee, what the bigger picture looks like for them, build rapport with them, identify points where you can help, and then basically see the roadblocks and then see how you can help them nudge past the roadblocks. You don't have to obliterate the roadblocks or remove the roadblocks entirely. Chances are you will not. But how can we like nudge past and get into a new situation where like some of it is flowing? You know, any kind of change, any kind of progress is progress. If somebody leaves this program feeling like someone in England listened to them, that they have networked and have contact with professionals in their industry, and that they know how to use Google Drive, then that is enough for us. All of these are wins. The most important thing to remember is that you're not here on your own. You are a part of a community here at Turn. We have designed some supportive moments in the program. So as you may have noticed, we sent you this really super easy, like one pager with all the links that you might need for the program. So bookmark that on your computer, and then you'll never be like, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go? What do I do? We're going to have 2 20-minute mentor check-ins. So one's going to be in the beginning of the program and a few weeks after you've had a moment to sort of settle on actually what's going on and what your questions are. And then one towards the end to get your feedback. And of course, at any point during the program, if you need to speak with your coach or myself or even someone else on the team, then you can always just reach out. And we're going to have a group mentor gathering midway through the program where we kind of troubleshoot and share our experiences together. And that's usually really helpful as well. So yeah, this is a little like note from someone after we did the first mentor gathering like a year and a half ago. They're like, other mentors are really helpful. And it's true, there are a lot of very experienced people in the room. I want to share with you our Turn community values because it just influences every single thing that we do. So the first one is zero prejudice and zero discrimination. So all backgrounds, genders, ambitions, and walks of life are welcome here. We don't tolerate prejudice or discrimination, in particular prejudice based on economic background, gender orientation, religion, ethnicity, or of course, legal status, because that would be crazy. So please don't do that. Respect and curiosity. We ask that every community member make an effort to find out more about each other, to listen first, and to respect different viewpoints and opinions whilst expressing their own in a calm and respectful way. Respecting personal space, respecting one another. Not that we respected your personal space by clogging in this room, I'm really sorry. And generally to be friendly when interacting with other community members. There are so many different countries represented, and within those countries, there are so many different cultures. And so it's just like, let's be respectful and curious about one another. Mutual support. So we're all here to make progress. Some business ideas are more advanced. Some are in the beginning stages. Some are classic traditional business models. Others are more innovative and different, new. We are all here to help each other progress and aim to encourage one another. And last but not least, collaborative care. So I'm going to go into that a bit further because this one, I mean, they all impact you, but this one is really important for us, especially. So collaborative care is about working together. And it means that as soon as you're concerned or if something isn't really going well for you in your mentorship practice, or you notice something a bit off about your mentee and you have a like gut feeling, it's that you tell us early and often. Share with your turn coach. You are never alone in sort of investigating or reacting to or helping with different things that will happen in your relationship with your mentee. So the earlier you speak to Turn, the better, because Turn has a lot of resources. We can signpost to really amazing organizations that can help with problems. And we can help like strategize about how to potentially de-escalate situations or how to re-engage people who maybe are disengaging. So please speak to your turn coach and or if you can't speak to your turn coach for whatever reason, or you just would rather go into the safeguarding zone, like if you think there's abuse, neglect, or some kind of emergency happening, then you can contact the Turn safeguarding officers directly as well. And I'm going to share with you a video and a page that's in your buddy links about safeguarding and all this kind of thing, which you'll watch as well. And the idea is just like, you don't need to like bear the emotional burden of like digging into a difficult situation, but it's also because sometimes you might notice, and I go into this at length in the safeguarding video, but you might notice something, or your mentee might like suggest or sorry, like mention something. And let's say it's something like a very early stage, like housing issue. Let's say there's a fledgling housing issue. It's way better for us to start working on a housing issue before they like lose the housing, for example, than afterwards. So that's why it's so important. Like as soon as you get a gut feeling, just better to share than not. Does anybody have any questions about that? I wanted to share with you this really amazing resource. It's it has the safeguarding stuff, but it also has some like cultural stuff and some kind of like peer support stuff. It's like a 40-minute video. It's really essential. And one of the main things that it talks about is this idea of like working with a lot of different people from a lot of different cultures, and how it's not really about us like trying to understand everything about everybody else. It's more about us trying to understand ourselves and why we think certain things and why we assume certain things and why we do certain things and expect certain things. And once we can understand where our assumptions and expectations come from, then we can truly be open and curious about other people's, because they're not kind of like defying our own. And so I'd love for you to visit bit.ly/safe space at turn. You can scan this QR code, and it also is in your buddy links as well. And if you could watch that video before starting to work with your mentee, that would be amazing. It's like 40 minutes long. You're just gonna have to listen to me speaking more. I'm really sorry in advance. It's quite interesting though, if I do say so myself. Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. We're gonna meet our mentees. Woo! That's gonna happen next week. You're gonna find out who your mentees are tomorrow, because we're gonna send, hopefully, we're gonna send, it might be Friday morning. It's gonna be this. I just like reflected on that. I was like, it could be Friday morning, but it could be tomorrow. We're gonna send you a mentee profile, and you're gonna start getting the initial information about your mentee. And it's gonna be really cool. And then the next week after that, you're gonna come back here to Hoxton on a day that we schedule together on the new WhatsApp groups, which will be opening. So tomorrow, just to give you an idea of what's going on for us. So tomorrow's the entrepreneur onboarding, and we're going to onboard them. And it's really nice with them to like, and with you as well, to like talk everything out in person, because it makes more sense than an email. So once we have everybody talk through in person, then we share each other's profiles, and then we open the WhatsApp group. And in that WhatsApp group, that way it's not just like random people WhatsApp group texting them or you, because that's always difficult. So it's nicer after the onboarding. Then we'll chat in there about scheduling your one-to-one-to-one. So thank you to everyone who has already sent me your availability for next week. And on Friday, we will share that availability with your entrepreneur, and we can just schedule inside the WhatsApp group, and you can just like help to schedule that when you receive the message. You may receive like a invitation to join a WhatsApp group. Some people have like that setting on their WhatsApp. So if you could just like accept that as soon as you see it, that would be great. And that'll happen on Friday. So yeah, the sort of objectives of meeting your mentee is to start building that trust, start building the rapport, ask open questions to understand more about who they are and what they're trying to do and what they expect of you. And then to sort of define how you're going to meet and what your expectations are for meeting and working together throughout the program. Does that make sense? So you're going to want to ask a lot of open questions and like allow the entrepreneur to just like tell you all the things that they say and also that you hear between the lines. And you can ask questions like, what made you want to be a part of this? And like, what is your day-to-day life like? And stuff like that. I would refrain from like asking, I feel like this is pretty like obvious, but not really asking too much about their displacement, or like they will, if they want to share that with you, they will likely share those stories with you through the course of your relationship with them. But if we just start out just building trust and just like learning more about one another, that's great. Any questions about meeting mentees?
Do they receive a profile from her? Like,
They receive your LinkedIn profile.
Oh.
Yes.
How long is the meeting meant to be?
It'll be an hour. Yeah. And we can start out with like a Venn diagram where we just start out like literally being like, what's your favorite food? And like, what's your favorite animal? And then like putting the things that are the same in the middle. So it'll be facilitated. Any other questions about meeting your mentees? Are you guys feeling like excited, nervous? Very excited. Yeah, cool. It's a blind date. Oh my God. Do not date your mentees. Sorry. Please. One other thing that would be really great if you could do before meeting your mentee is to take a 16 personalities test. Quick show of hands. Anybody taken one before? Yeah. It doesn't matter really if you think it's true or not. It's just a fun thing to do. And so if you could, that's a QR code, so you can scan that, or you go to 16 personalities, or you could search 16 personalities, and they are also going to do a 16 personalities. And we're actually going to use that, not at your mentor meeting. So actually you have another week to do this. You have at least another week and a half to do this. At the first workshop, we're going to be comparing our 16 personalities because we're going to be talking about strengths, skills, and resources, personal resources. So just before then, we'll do that. If you would like to, you can save the Turn community phone number as a phone contact in your phone. So if you actually save this number as a contact, then you will be signed up to the WhatsApp broadcast, and randomly, not very often, it's not like spammy in any way. I think it's like once a week or maybe less than that. You'll receive like a list of Turn community opportunities. Now, these opportunities are sometimes going to be opportunities that impact you as business buddies, but mostly what it is to keep an eye open for opportunities for your entrepreneurs. So let's just say you have a mentee and they're looking for a job, or they're looking for like public speaking opportunities or something like that. Maybe if you notice something on that broadcast, you could help facilitate them noticing it too and getting involved.
Safeguard, is there a particular safeguard?
I think for safeguarding, you'll probably just want to call your coach, but in the handbook and in that safeguarding resources, there's also like the email addresses for the safeguarding officers.
Okay.
Maybe we should have a safeguarding phone call. That's a good shout, John. I'll get back to you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only value of that is you know you speak with someone.
Do to call.
Yeah.
That's smart. I like that.
Safeguarding
Safeguarding basically it's a legal concept. That means it's based on the right of everyone to be free of abuse and neglect. So it's the responsibility of anyone who's working with vulnerable people to, if they suspect any abuse or neglect is happening, to contact a safeguarding officer, which is basically a point person in an organization who can roll out the safeguarding process, which is like a legally required process. But that video that you can find on your buddy links about co-creating a safe space at Turn, it's going to have some safeguarding information about it, but it's also going to be about maintaining a safe space in general. So it's not only going to be about those legal requirements, it's also going to be about our sort of like human requirements about being humans. But that's a good shot, John. Maybe we will create a safeguarding number and put it up at the top of that safeguarding space. Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys. Every one of these phones is gonna wiggle. Every one of these phones has to wiggle before we can get to the next.
Animations and GIFs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. All right. We have a social network, you guys. It's called Mighty Networks. Has anybody ever used Mighty Networks before? Cool. What do you think?
Yeah, it was quite good. It felt like for me when I use it, it felt like we need to get a convention LinkedIn and Facebook all at the same time.
Yeah.
So when it's something specific, it's quite helpful because everything's in one place.
Yes.
But if it's for something like quite specific, like one for it, I think it's quite good. Like that.
Yeah.
Knowing that becomes redundant.
It's more for like groups that are meeting for periods of time to like interact with one another, because not everybody's on Facebook, basically, I think is mainly what it is. So we have a In Good Company 2022 Mighty Community, so you can go and check that out, become a part of that. And then you'll just see like sometimes people will post, sometimes Turn will post, and it's a really quick, easy way to get in touch with different people. And also to like collect feedback. So let's say your mentee is like making dumplings and they have like pictures of green dumplings and pictures of red dumplings and they're like, what color should my vegan dumplings be? You could like post that up on Mighty Networks and then like comment on, get some feedback underneath. So join that. Just to go over what's coming up in the next few weeks. Please watch the safety video, the safe space video. It's really important. Do your 16 personalities test. On Friday, you'll join your team's WhatsApp group where you will schedule and meet your mentee in a one-to-one next week. So the week commencing May 9th. If you haven't already, you can explore the information base. That's the bit.ly/ingoodcompany 2022. That's where the handbook is, the program schedule. We are going to send you Google Calendar invitations, but just so that you can look against your own calendar and make sure you're not missing anything. And then our first workshops will be Tuesday the 17th and Wednesday the 18th of May. And we'll be joining each other online with our mentees in our Tuesday and Wednesday cohorts and starting to learn and do the journey. And if you need anything before then, you know, you're going to be coming back next week, so we'll all see you and you can always speak with your turn coach, but we are here, so you can always email us. Before I thank you, oh, no, I wanted to thank you. Sorry. Oh, after I thank you, could you please take 1 minute? It's currently 7:56. This lasts till 8, you guys. It is 7:56. If you could take 2 minutes to go to bit.ly/turnfeedback, it should bring you straight to the feedback. Please give us feedback on this session. If you want to give us feedback on the whole onboarding process, we would also take that. We cannot make a good program if we don't know what's going on the other side. So please let us know what you think. We'll just take 2 minutes to do that, and then it will be all over, you guys.